Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show.
Good morning. Happy Victory Monday to all across the Delaware Valley as a monster week commences. Great start to it, right? Yesterday, a rout of the Cowboys and setting up first place as the Eagles have the Commanders by half game, and the showdown happens Thursday night at Lincoln Financial Field. It's a monster. Welcome to the Anthony Gargano Show, presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark.com/PHLY to see the credit union difference. And what a day it was yesterday. Listen, it was a day to celebrate the Eagles' defense, right? Because, look, Dallas without Prescott they're cooked, right? They're Dalvin cooked. As cooked as Dalvin is the Cowboys right now. I mean, they're pathetic. Cooper Rush can't play. He stinks. Trey Lance, pickup Lance, stinks, right? Like, the Cowboys are just a carcass of a franchise. And we got to take glee in it. It's great. It's great to see old Leatherface looking out, upset, freaking out, have to answer about how pathetic the Cowboys are. Even the stadium that he spent billions on, right, is just a disaster. It cost them a touchdown early in the game where CD Lamb's like, I can't see, right? That hurt Jalen a little bit too, I think, because that first half, he was not good. But he was special. 2 minutes into it, the 2-minute warning on, second half, and it was a complete domination. And let's start as to reasons why. First of all, let's put aside Cooper Rush blows and the Dallas offense is just pathetic. However, the Eagles' defense had something to do with that. I mean, they had 49 yards passing. Dallas had 146 total yards. My kids' teams get more than that in a game on a running clock. That was just an unbelievable performance defensively, right? Because you look at now where they are with Mitchell and DeJean in that secondary. And it's my contention that the real reason that the Eagles are a Super Bowl contender, obviously you got stars on the offense, but it's the fact that this defense has been fixed. The two young players, the two young corners have solidified the secondary. Jalen Carter's played some great football, right? He's given you a lot off of where he's at in the middle of that line. He's a disruptor. He's a force, and it just helps the edges. I know that they need another pass rusher down the line, but Jalen Carter, once again, is a game wrecker. And you got those kids in the secondary, one who's just an elite cover man, and the other who is a physical football player, man. You look at Cooper DeJean, and whether it's on returns, he's a football player. He's physical. He tackles correctly, right? Mitchell is a shadow. He's got always perfect position. And those two players have solidified the Eagles' defense along with Vic Fangio. And it works, right? The scheme works. Now, Thursday will be the test because Jaden Daniels comes in, played some great football. They lost a thriller yesterday against the Steelers. No Zach Ertz fell on them at the end. But, I mean, it's going to be a really good test for the Eagles defense. Right now, the Eagles defense looks really good. It looks the best it has in years, to be honest with you. When they went to the Super Bowl, and I know they had a lot of sacks that year in 22, but let's be real. They got riddled by good quarterback play. Good quarterbacks, go back and look at it. During that period, they riddled the Eagles secondary. That's not the case. They're legitimate now. They're the best. First of all, it's the best secondary since Lito and Sheldon. And it's the best Eagles defense really since 18. They still, again, lack edge pass rush. But look at Zack Baun, man. Zack Baun give you some really good linebacker play. The Eagles defense has me excited. And look, offensively, we know the stars. You watch Saquon in a game, we don't even need him. He just comes up big. He's regal. AJ, regal. Now, Jalen was terrific in the second half during that stretch, right? 2 minute, inside the 2 minute mark. Once they got to that 2 minute drive was really good. And then he played really well in the third quarter. He did not play well in the first half, for the much of that first half. He turned the ball over. He held on to the ball constantly over and over and over again. But to his credit, what he does is he wins. You start to look, you go, all right, how does he do it? Because when you watch it, it doesn't look great. Some plays look like he can make that deep ball. He threw one to AJ yesterday that was just on the money. And then he'll be maddening and hold on to the ball. But ultimately, he wound up playing, what you need to do. And that's what this offense is. This offense, when you have Barkley and AJ Brown and Devontae, it was good to see Goddard back, you're good, right? Like you're going to score upper 20s. Yesterday, 34, and they got the rest Jalen, you got the rest Barkley, you got the rest receivers. It was a great day. And we saw the dismantling of the Cowboys. Leatherface and Bison Head. That's right. We got Jared Jones and McCarthy. Man, he's a horrible coach. He's just a horrible coach. Now, again, he has some issues with personnel and all, but I have to admit, it was great. I know it lacked a lot of teeth and a lot of hype, and it was Nance and Romo, and it was just bad football, but it was great to see them just stink, right? Like, what's amazing? We have Thanksgiving coming up, as Violation Greg continues to remind me. And the Lions and the Cowboys have switched roles. Forever, the Lions were the dreck of Thanksgiving. And everybody thought, well, why the Lions got to play every Thanksgiving? You got to put us through that? Well, now it's the Cowboys who are the dreck of Thanksgiving. Isn't that nice? Where the Lions and Cowboys have switched roles on Thanksgiving. What a day. And it sets up for a big week. Good morning, my boys. JP, John Zapata, VG, Violations, Greg Caputo.
Hell sucks.
What a game.
What a treat. What a pleasure. What a stomping.
There he is, Bison Head.
Bison Head.
Bison.
He's got a bison head, doesn't he?
Yeah, I guess.
Man.
I never thought of it.
Yeah.
Bison's head. Yeah, it's huge.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
He's got that big head.
It's definitely big. Definitely big head.
Little brain, big head. Nah.
Damn.
No.
Whoa.
I'm getting a little
The roast of the Dallas
I'm getting a little-
Cowboys.
I like this hand.
I'm getting a little obstreperous.
Yeah, he's got Eagles gear on. He's calling him Bison Head, little brain, pea brain. I like it.
I mean, seriously, they're just a pathetic football team. That team,
Thank God.
right? That team stinks.
That's awesome.
Right? Like
guys.
what? Cooper Rush. First of all, how has he been there
Right.
forever? He sucked. I remember when everybody made a big deal. Here's Cooper Rush. He's won 4 in a row. Like, you watch how they did it. They won because it was Micah Parsons and their defense and everything else. And you watch him play. You go, dude, who are you watching? This guy stinks. And he threw 3 picks against the Eagles. Yesterday, the Eagles gift wrapped him. I mean, seriously, the game, anybody else, I'll be honest with you, I would have been worried because it was a bad first half other than 2 minutes. It was a bad first half.
Yes.
Jalen was awful in the first half.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And you gift wrapped them right at literally, here you go, the 6-yard line.
Oh, the D came up huge.
Yeah, man.
Huge.
Huge.
And Parsons is, and Cooper Rush is horrible. I mean, that offense. First of all, can we take glee in just how bad the Cowboys are for a second? How do you go into a season with Rico Dowell as your lead back?
Horrible.
And then you bring back Zeke Elliott. You might as well bring back Evan Smith.
100%.
I'd rather have Evan than Zeke.
Probably better.
Zeke is just horrible. He stinks.
They're both terrible.
I mean, he's awful. And then you got nobody beyond after CeeDee Lamb. Well, how about Brooks? He didn't even look at the ball.
Who?
Tolbert didn't even look at the ball.
Yeah, Quinion just playing with Brooks all day.
Yeah.
All day. Brooks, there was a ball thrown. He didn't even look at the. In fact, I guess it was Romo going, dude, you gotta track the football, man. You gotta look for the football. I mean, they are just awful. They stink.
How did Jerry even find Cooper Rush? I'm looking now. He's second team all MAC. How does he even get on his radar? I think he may have a ginger thing. The way he had Jason Garrett hang around for a while. Maybe he might have a ginger thing going on.
And here was the thing. I wondered. I remember doing this because during my Fox show, there is they were a big story. Like we talked a lot about the Cowboys, and I kept saying to them like, how does Tom McCarthy? How does McCarthy keep his job?
I mean, you probably just have to praise his ego and stroke Jerry's ego. That's how you stay around these guys.
He is a horrible coach. He was always a bad. I got news for you. When he had Rodgers and only won one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Doc Rivers.
He only won one. He's worse than Doc Rivers.
Because Doc's still hanging on to that 08 championship. It feels like he's still hanging on to that 2010 championship.
I'm surprised he wasn't fired after that game, to be honest. I mean, you're
not going to find right to the game, but last year when you get destroyed at home by the Packers, in a playoff game, you got to go, right? Like that's where you got to go.
And he's an offensive guy, right? That's his history. Yeah, he's
yes.
No.
He has his own tree.
Yeah.
It's a limp, right? It's got bugs,
2 branches,
right? But he's got a tree.
I think it was Alex Smith's first offensive coordinator.
He's a what?
I think it was Alex Smith's first offensive coordinator too. Yeah. Thorne,
Oh, man, he is definitely not an offensive genius. That's for sure.
He stinks. How do you keep your job? Now, again, we could sit back and just take glee into how pathetic that franchise is.
Normally, any other team, I would have, switched around, threw red zone on. I couldn't get enough of this yesterday.
Awesome.
I was glued. I sat through commercials, so I didn't miss 1 minute of us stomping on the Cowboys yesterday.
Well, it was great too because you saw the stands. You look around and all the pained faces in the crowd, right? And pain. Normally, I always feel bad for the fan, right?
No, not them.
Let me finish. Obviously, not them. Because you see them in their, regal blue and the stars.
Yeah, like rhinestones.
Yeah, and you go, this is beautiful, man. This is beautiful. Right? They're just complete and utter dreck. And they have switched places with the Lions. The Lions are great, and they suck.
And there's no way Parsons hangs out. He's got to roll after this year, right?
There's no way. Pay him.
Right. So there's just going to be, there's no way out for them, which is glorious. Glorious.
Yeah.
Unless Jared's not going anywhere, so they're going to stink.
Oh, well,
They're
and again,
stink.
He's been awful. It goes back to the Jimmy Johnson days. Goes all the way back to that when he thought he was the reason why. And he brings Switzer in, and it was his buddy in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And it's just been one calamity after another. Thanks to Jarrah, Leatherface.
Where did he play in Oklahoma? Where did he play? Yeah. That's the worst thing. This guy with all this money and power, probably a mediocre player, thinks he knows everything about football.
It's great. It's great.
Fantastic.
It's the Cowboy. How about goddamn Cowboys.
Do they not have curtains available in Dallas? He can't get some curtains for those club box suites where the sun comes shining through?
They do have curtains that they use for other events besides the Dallas Cowboys games. And obviously you saw on that CeeDee Lamb where he's just like, it looks like he's not even trying on the play. No, like the dude literally cannot see the ball because the sun is blaring.
The close-up was great where he just goes like, he's just pointing. He's like, I can't see. How do you not,
dude?
How do you not black that out? He goes, what do you want me to do? Build a whole other stadium? Yeah. Right? Yeah. And you go, dude, how about you just black out? How about you just black out the sun? Yeah. Like, well, like how hard is that? Hey, shades.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? You got shades, Jared.
Yeah. Look,
that's what it looks like.
Someone took that picture in the stadium yesterday. That's
how do you let that happen?
Right.
Seriously, the NFL's got to go, yo, guys. I don't know. Maybe that was the reason why Jalen was horrible in the first half.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah,
for sure.
He couldn't see. Because I kept he was odd, right? Because he kept holding on to the ball. Hold on, maybe because he couldn't see. I don't know. I mean,
I saw another angle that Dotson passed, and you could clearly tell the sun was right in his face. And credit to Jalen because that was a solid pass that he threw to Dotson on the sideline.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be reason because he looked terrible in the first. Just holding the ball and just not finding any lanes of finding some space and time, just running into players. He looked, maybe he was just totally blinded.
I don't know, but how do you let that happen? It's the NFL.
It's outrageous that the
like how do you have that? How's that happen?
The competition committee doesn't say anything about
like,
that.
Like, guys, like again, we're just talking about shades, like like shades, curtains,
some shady rays films they throw up on those
whatever.
Windows.
Yeah, like
there's something there.
I mean, that's unbelievable that $1 billion, right? It just cost the whole thing, and they can't figure that out. Like, it's unbelievable. They just let it be.
I have a feeling it's the last time it happens. There's so much conversation about it. They'll find some curtains after this, I think.
Well, right, but the fact that they needed to go this far
it's ridiculous.
Is unbelievable. But let's talk about the Eagles' defense because to me, it all goes back to this defense and those kids, Mitchell and DeJean, Cooper and Kenyon. They have made this defense.
I'll go a different route too because those linebackers.
Okay, forget the linebacker. We'll get to Zack.
All right,
I'm bringing up the kids for a reason.
I listen.
Like those kids have given you stability back there, and you look at DeJean, you look what Cooper's done from a physical standpoint.
Yeah,
I mean, we haven't had a secondary like this since you got to go back to the Lito Sheldon days.
Yeah.
They're playing like 5-year vets is what they're playing like. They're not rookies. The way that they're going out there controlling and dominating whoever they're matched up with, it's insane. The moves that they're making. Q is just an island. That dude is phenomenal to watch. I love watching him. He's one of my favorite players right now.
Kenyon Island?
Yeah.
Kenyon Island?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's. I mean, listen, we get 49 yards passing. I don't care how bad Cooper Rush is, right? Like
tell you,
at some point,
this little nug. There's been 12,650 games played since 2000. That's 49 yards, ranks 12,561st. Out of there's only 80 games in the whole history of football since 2000 that had less passing yards. Brutal. I will say, I have PTSD from last year, man. I'm worried.
What? What are you talking about?
What are you worried about?
I'm worried because they played trash.
Oh, okay.
And I'm worried to get that false sense where we were like 10-1 and feeling good. Now we're on a roll.
I mean, now's not for that.
I'm just telling you. I just feel worried about it, man.
What are you worried about? Let your eyes do the talking.
I know. They played horrible quarterbacks.
Okay. I mean, again, listen, well, you'll know Thursday night.
Joe Burrow is a horrible quarterback?
Good point.
You want to go through the other four?
Yeah, but look what they did to Chase and Joe Burrow.
Agree.
That's a great sample size right there to tell you that this team
4 out of 5 victories have been against lower third offenses.
But when we were 10-1,
I think it's reasonable after what we've been through to just think of that.
But when we were 10-1, did you feel comfortable after those wins? Because I feel better.
I felt fine in the national media.
When they were 10-1, They had beaten.
I thought they were
Buffalo,
good at 10-1.
Miami. Listen. I mean, did I think that they were an unbeaten type of juggernaut? No, but I mean, I thought they were legitimate. I'll be honest with you. I didn't see. I thought that there would be some regression, but I didn't see a complete collapse coming. I didn't see the collapse.
Yeah, I think they're a much better team. I'm just saying, there's a little part of me that's just a little nervous about a false sense of confidence right now. I mean, I love the way they're playing.
Here's the deal. I mean, let's be honest, and I think we can easily kind of dissect this team. They're legitimate in the secondary.
Yeah.
They still lack a pass rush.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter's terrific, right? But they still lack a pass rush off the edge.
Yeah.
All right.
But the linebackers were a huge concern for me. They're playing out of their minds.
I mean, Zack Baun, to your point, JP, Zack Baun's been terrific.
Mm-hmm.
N'Kobe's playing really well. So if your back seven is legit, now again, does that mean could the Lions go down and put up 30 on them? Yeah, I get it. But if you look at the rest of this conference,
it's so mediocre.
I mean, I don't know. I think the Eagles are right there.
I agree. Totally agree.
I mean, I don't think that there's some.
I think they're the second best team in the NFC.
There's some regression that's coming because they played bad opponents. They played bad opponents in 2018 or 2017 and won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but we knew going into this run, we're like, this is where they got to get healthy because this is some bad teams they're playing here.
Listen, Cleveland, horrible. Giants, horrible.
This team
and the Cowboys without
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all.
I give a little more credit to Jacksonville's at least a legitimate offense.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and Cincinnati's
a great win.
And we just saw what Cincinnati did to Baltimore Thursday night. You brought up Jamar Chase, Andrew. I mean, that's impressive.
That is impressive. Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm not saying. I'm just saying
you're worried.
There's a little pinch of me in my gut.
I just feel it's different this year because I feel like after especially like the last four, they're gaining confidence. And I feel like they are getting better, especially defensively. I mean, you talked about that secondary. Ever since Cooper DeJean's been back there in that secondary, things have definitely changed around.
It's funny. Offensively,
yeah,
I look at them and I go, they have too many starts. They're almost
exactly.
I don't want to say Jalen proof because he's a part of the offense and a part of the success of the offense. Because again, all he does every week is score generate 4 touchdowns. Throws for 2, runs for 2, throws for 1, runs for 3. Like, that's all he does every week, right? So it sounds crazy to go nitpick. But, I mean, we all saw it. He did not play well in the first half. He held on to the ball. He turned the ball over. He had been clean up until that point. But it's the holding on to the ball. When he's got to play and he's decisive, he's on the money, man. Like, you throw the ball, he makes a great downfield throw, right? It's those times when it's the second and third reads where he's late.
And that just may be the way it is. It's going to be. I mean, maybe they're just going to these beautiful deep throws, and that's their game.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
They had a
because he
horrible
can drop it in the bucket.
Right.
And as long as he's running, that dynamic makes him utterly dangerous.
You don't have to rely on his arm. I mean, if you look at the past couple of games, I mean, he hasn't thrown more than 30 times in the game, too.
And that's
making
what you
the
want.
right plays. Yeah.
Well, again,
making the right plays.
You don't want him throwing 40 times.
No, you don't.
There's the stats there. I mean, he threw for 20. He had 20 throws, That's great.
That's what you want.
That's what you want. You don't want him going any more than that.
And like you said, it's like a testament to the amount of skill on this offense. He could have a really bad first half and they still smoke a team.
Yeah.
Because they are so loaded on offense.
Yeah.
And Kellen Moore's starting to call, the one.
I think the coach has been buttoned up, man.
Play action.
Coach has been buttoned up. And you got to give Sirianni credit again. We all said going into the bye, oh, God, oh, my God. Everybody was looking to fire him, right? Where's he going to make it after the bye? They haven't lost.
Look, I got it. Nicky. Clean game. Nothing. It's like he was invisible, and it's perfect. Perfect.
But that's where you got to give him a lot of credit.
Absolutely.
He didn't kill us, and the press conference actually saw it as well, guys.
I mean, listen.
Oh, man.
You got to give credit's due.
For sure. I'm with that.
100%. Here you go. Nicky. 9th in NFL history, surpassing George Halas' all-time list with a 683 winning percentage.
Nick
41-19.
Halas Sirianni.
Yep, that's right.
All right. Lots to get to. Bo Wulf, all PHLY birds, going to join us. Lots to get to. Hey, first, let's talk about, some football food. Primo Hoagies. In fact, JP, you said it yesterday. Or you said it, you had Primo's
That's
yesterday?
right.
What'd you have?
Because it's the first of the year. I got the Pilgrim, guys. I got my
Oh, did you?
I got
Oh,
the Pilgrim.
nice.
Yeah, everybody loves the
Solid.
Pilgrim.
Love the
I'm not a
Pilgrim.
fan, but everybody loves it.
It was good.
Everybody rocks the Pilgrim.
It's good, man.
You know, you're Mr. Pilgrim over here. You even got the Jebediah look.
We got to get you a pilgrim hat.
I could
Jebediah
use a nice
Greg.
pilgrim
Behind
hat,
Nation's
little
Jebediah.
bow tie, little like
Well,
one of those
you
little
can shave the mustache. You can be truly Jebediah.
Oh,
Put a pilgrim hat on him.
Jebediah.
You look good with a pilgrim hat.
He
Big,
would.
tall pilgrim hat.
He would.
He looks
Let me
strong.
see what this
Everybody
pilgrim.
loves a pilgrim. It is Thanksgiving dinner on a roll. That's what it is. It's the seeded roll,
Yes.
baked fresh in store every couple hours. The only roll you can only find at Primo Hoagies, like the finest human meats and cheeses. All the taste to order. The pickies, pepperoni and cheese, and pepper shooters, and mozzarella balls. It's all there, right? You gotta love it. And desserts. It's the perfect game day food. Go to primohoagies.com for over 90 locations across the Delaware Valley. There's going to be one near you. And you'll say what I always say. It's not just a hoagie. It's a Primo. All right. Also, let's talk about Ace, the helpful place. That's right. Ace bringing helpful. You know them. They're the helpful hardware folks. Now they're bringing helpful home. That's right. Ace Hardware Home Services. So here's the deal. You got a leaky pipe, something wrong with your heating, air conditioning. I could raise my hand. That's what happened to me, right? I know the heater went out, the air conditioning, that unit went out. And so in comes Ace. Now, the beauty of what Ace Hardware Home Services is that they're all local, right? They have local people that come out and take care of the job professionally. Like, you don't want to handle leaky pipes and plumbing and all that stuff. You don't want to do it and mess it up. That's why you got Ace. Now, you always know Ace Hardware for all the helpful folks, right? That you need any questions, Ace is always the place to go. But now they're bringing helpful home. AceHardwareHomeservices.com. All right, AceHardwareHomeservices.com. Check it out, and you can bring the helpful folks home right to your front door. It's perfect. All right, now joining us from the All PHLY Bird Show, our man Bo Wulf. Good morning, Bo. How are you?
We're good. How are you guys?
We're good. We're taking glee in the demise of Dallas. That is a putrid football team, Bo.
Awful. Just awful. I mean, Cooper Rush, like some of those throws. I mean, the Eagles defense, I give them all kinds of credit. That was one of the best defensive performances of any team this season. But Cooper Rush is like, I'd like to see your son out there instead.
Moss got a better arm. I truly believe that. Well, it's the roster. I keep going back to it. Their roster's horrible. I mean, if I was joking earlier, you'd rather have Emmitt Smith than Zeke Elliott. Right? I mean,
oh gosh, absolutely.
Look how bad they are. They have one player on offense at CD Lamb. That's it.
I mean, Tyler Smith is a pretty good offensive lineman. Zach Martin's at the end of his career.
Right.
But absolutely. The Cowboys have always been so star heavy, right? It's always been like we've got our stars, and they sort of roll the dice on if they're going to have enough depth. And this year, they had a bunch of injuries to the edge guys. That's like one little excuse. But the big problems with their roster were the big problems with their roster in the offseason. They didn't address them. Like everybody in Dallas was talking about, we've got the worst interior defensive line in the league in August. And guess what? They've still got the worst interior defensive line in the league. So I think talking to some of our DLLS colleagues last week, they think that maybe Jerry Jones under the hood, maybe behind the radar, was expecting this to be a bit of a rebuilding year because they did not put the resources into making this a caliber roster.
Really? So you think that he knew, he saw it coming, and then this was the year of sweeping change? Because I'll be honest with you, when you get destroyed at home in a playoff game, when you have a bye, right? Like you win the division, you get destroyed at home by the Packers. How do you not? I don't know. How do you not fire the coach?
Not fire the coach or not make sweeping changes to the roster, right? And yeah, what their big moves were bringing back Ezekiel Elliott. Like that's very unserious.
Yeah. No, listen. But here's the thing, and let's talk about it, because what popped yesterday, to me, the great difference of this team is Mitchell and DeJean. Those two kids in that secondary, they have completely transformed it. I don't care about all the sacks under Gannon, and when they played legit quarterbacks, that defense got riddled. This defense is legitimate because of those kids.
I think so. And we were talking about this on the post-game show last night with Fran and Vinny and Jamie. What is so interesting to me is that this defense is so good in a way that we have not seen in Philadelphia in a very long time. For so long, Howie Roseman has built the defense around the defensive line. We are going to have the best group of defensive linemen in the league, and the back seven will sort of figure itself out because we're just going to wreak so much havoc in the defense in the offensive backfield. This team is one of the best defenses in football right now, and since the bye, the best defense in football by the numbers, because of the back seven, because of the ease with which they pass things on in their zones, because guys like Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean can take guys one-on-one. And, Cooper DeJean has been so impressive, not just the athleticism he brings, but he's such a sure tackler. We haven't seen that in a while. Quinyon Mitchell, the one pass breakup he makes downfield yesterday along the sideline, so mature, so precocious for a rookie because he doesn't panic with the ball in the air. He knows exactly where he is on the field. We sort of made the comparison after the game. He reminds me of Devontae in terms of being so ahead of the pace as a rookie in knowing exactly where he is on the field and having that very calm, steady heartbeat, sort of that cold blood. It's really impressive. And I give Vic Fangio so much credit. And then we haven't even talked about the linebackers who are playing at a level higher than we have seen in Philadelphia for a very long time.
Yeah. Let's stay with the kids for a second. And let's look at, well, first of all, Cooper, he's a football player, right? He's completely Iowa. Iowa has always had a great defense. Last couple of years, their defense, no offense, but a great defense. But they know where to go, right? They are always in the right position, and they're always perfect tacklers, always in position, always technically sound. And that's what I look at Cooper DeJean and I go, he's a football player.
What's interesting about Cooper DeJean is, you see the basketball highlights from high school, right? And you're like, okay, this guy, wherever he was in high school, he was the best athlete on the field. In Iowa, he's the best athlete on the field in college football, in the Big Ten, which is a high level. He gets to the NFL, and I'll tell you what, on that defense, he looks like the best athlete on the field. The way that he moves, the physicality, and the football intelligence that you're talking about, it's very impressive that as a rookie, that is the speed that he moves with. He pops out on tape, on TV. You can tell that this is a guy who moves differently.
I remember draft day, I was talking to Spags when the Eagles drafted Cooper, and he's like, dude, they got to steal with him. I love that kid. And right away he goes, I wouldn't hesitate playing him on the outside. Because obviously you thought, all right, great, slot corner, the whole thing. Maybe
right.
Safety.
The question is, do you move him to safety? Right.
And Spags like, dude, no, this kid, because I studied him, he can play outside corner in this league.
I believe that he can, and we will see moving forward if the Eagles want to move him to the outside. I would imagine. I mean, he's so good inside, and that's such an important position in this defense that I feel. Yeah, I think moving forward, there's probably a timeline where in base, when they're not in nickel, he gets to be on the outside. Yes. But when they play nickel, why mess with it? Because you've also got Rodgers and Ringo who can hopefully hold down those outside spots once Darius Slay moves on.
Plus,
but I will give
of his tackling when he's inside.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you got to give the Eagles credit because sometimes you sort of luck into a very good draft pick, right? Like the board falls some way, and you just have to sort of make a pick that is not necessarily what you expected. I mean, the Eagles loved Cooper DeJean. When they took Quinyon Mitchell, if Quinyon Mitchell had been off the board, my understanding is there's a very real possibility that it would have been DeJean at 22. And they went, we saw the video of Jeffrey Lurie on the call to Cooper DeJean. He said, we went to bed. I went to bed last night thinking about trying to get you. You were the guy that we wanted. They trade up to get him. They deserve a lot of credit for going to get him, especially because they were doubling down on a corner after drafting Quinyon.
Yeah, I listen, that's how you build great defenses. Right? When you take the best players available, and just so happens that you get 2 lockdown defensive backs, man, that's how you build a great defense. Now,
and one thing I would ask you, Cuz, is do you think that the Eagles would have approached it this way were Vic Fangio not the new defensive coordinator? Because Vic wants to build his defense, I think, from back to front, from the back 7 forward. And Howie has always built it from the defensive line back. And so you wonder if they didn't have Vic Fangio, would they have been willing to do that?
Yeah, I think it's irrelevant. I think I agree with you that that's how Fangio likes to play it. But I remember talking to Howie before the draft, and he was bullish. He also knew that he needed corners, and he loved DeJean, like you said. I mean, they weren't lying about that. And Mitchell, nobody expected Mitchell to be there.
Correct.
When Mitchell's there, I don't care who your defensive coordinator, Billy Davis is your defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. You're going to take Mitchell because he was. I remember talking to draft guys because there was some talk about Terrion Arnold, and like you see how he's very handsy and grabby, and he's got a lot of passive PIs, whereas Mitchell was completely always in the right position. Who's so elevated with his footwork. Like you look at his feet, he's always in the perfect position. Mm-hmm. It makes up for he's never has to grab, right? Because his feet are always in the right spot.
He's always composed. He's always very composed. Now, there was a bit of a leap of faith because it's Toledo, because he's a year older, if you want to compare him to Terrion Arnold, but he answered all the things in the pre-draft process, looked awesome at the Senior Bowl. And I will say in Howie Roseman's defense on the cornerback front, it's a little bit circumstantial that they hadn't drafted a cornerback that early. Like each of the past 3-4 drafts, there were guys at the top who they would have been willing to draft. If the Devontae Smith pick, if Patrick Surtain or J.C. Horn had been there, that probably would have been the pick. They liked Derek Stingley that year. They liked Christian Gonzalez the year before if Jalen Carter doesn't fall. So you're right. It's something that they were looking to fill the past several years.
The only one I remember disagreeing with, and you can correct me, but Joey Porter. I remember thinking Joey Porter was there, and they should have
that was the Nolan Smith pick. They could have taken him.
And because I remember thinking, I like Joey Porter. I mean, Nolan's worked out. So, I mean, I think he's working out. Obviously, Joey Porter is a player. But I love what they've done. Let's talk about Zack Baun. And
amazing.
And this goes to Fangio, right? Because Fangio has completely unlocked him.
It's wild. It's like he's got the Midas touch with this one, because this is the guy who Fangio identified in free agency. Like, this is the guy that I want. And Zach Berman asked Vic a question at the press conference last week about, like, do you ever worry about like the league, what the league thinks about a guy? Because Zack Baun was in the same place for 4 years, the same team that drafted him, and they never really gave him a shot inside. And so you wonder, like, what do they know that we don't know? And Vic, crusty old football guy that he is, says, no, I don't worry about anybody else but myself. Like, I don't care what the league thinks. I'm just trusting my eyes. Like, this is my position. Linebacker is the position I know the best. I trust what I see. And what is so impressive about Zack Baun is, obviously, he's got like the physicality that pops off tape, right? The way the force that he hits with is so impressive. You saw it in forcing 2 fumbles yesterday. But it's crazy that this is a guy who has not played the position in the NFL or full-time in college, and there's no drop in instincts, really. Like, every now and then he takes a half step wrong somewhere. But that position, to me, is so much about football intelligence. Like, you can be a step slower if you see it quicker. And he doesn't seem like he's seeing it slow. Like, it's really, really impressive. And you have to imagine that this is a guy who is probably only going to get better at the position because he's getting more reps. It's really, really impressive.
It is. You know what it is too? His IQ is really through the roof.
Which is crazy.
I know. His IQ is, he knows the game, man. Like, you can see, he knows where to be, he understands it. I'm shocked how great he is physically at it. That's what
Vic deserves all kinds of credit, but there's no way that Vic thought even Vic thought he was going to be this good.
Agreed. I'm with you. And
the thing that he said, that Zack Baun said in the post-game press conference last night was very sweet. He said, he was asked about, like, why is Philadelphia different? What's been different for your career? And he said, you know what, it makes me think of when I transferred schools in high school. Like, I was kind of uncomfortable in my own body. I was like a fish out of water. I was kind of like a nervous, shy guy at the first place. And then I went somewhere else, and all of a sudden I felt like I could be myself again, like be my true self. And that's how he feels now. It's a heartwarming story.
It is a good story. And by the way, the other thing too is you got to give the Eagles a ton of credit because they wanted to play this defense. They identified Vic a while ago, right? They've been after him. And then he goes to Miami, and the Miami thing was a disaster, right? Like, by all accounts, those players, they celebrated his departure.
Yeah, it's probably, it makes you think of like these two people who had been flirting for a very long time, hoping that they could finally hook up together. But then, like, the timing didn't work. And so Vic goes out and he starts dating somebody else, and his heart's not really in it. And the Eagles are dating Sean Desai, and they're just thinking about Vic in the back of their mind. They're having conversations, and they're just, heart bubbles of Vic popping in their mind. They finally get together, and this is where they both want to be.
Man, I can't go Love Island. I got my man over here.
You guys, I love it.
You guys going rom-com.
Cause it's out.
I love rom-com examples. I love it. Go ahead, DJ.
I was just looking at his Zack Baun's like pre-draft rankings and stuff. He's like a boomer bust. The scouting crew is really good on him. He's ranked 6th overall in linebackers out of Wisconsin. Who knows what they're doing in New Orleans? But I want to get back to the D-backs with you guys. It seems ludicrous to say it, but do the Eagles have the best D-back combo in football right now?
I think so. There's
with
a lot.
Rookies?
I mean, those two. There's one everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know if there's two like this.
Yeah, it's a good question. I would have to think about it and go through it. But what is also impressive is that it's not like, they're a little bit injury fortified. Like, if Slay goes down, Isaiah Rodgers is not a bad answer. And even Keely Ringo is like, they're very deep. They go 5 deep of really quality corners, it seems like.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. All right, let's go offense for a second. So what do you attribute yesterday and Jalen first half? It was not good. He rebounds and plays well. Obviously has a good second half, had a good drive inside the 2-minute warning. But he was not good. He held on to the ball. Those sacks were on him. Doesn't get rid of the ball. It's sometimes it perplexes me. It's like, dude, just throw the ball away. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I was also pretty disappointed by the first half performance until that final drive of the first half. For the first 5 possessions of this game against one of the worst defenses in football. And I know they're getting Micah Parsons back, and that changes things. But 7 points on 5 drives, it's not good. And I totally agree. He looked a little bit slow to process early on. I know a lot of people were making the excuse of the sunshine in the stadium. He's played there before. I don't think we can use that as an excuse. But what I will say, Jalen has looked really good in some games over over this 5-game winning streak. It's been a little bit up and down. And he put together a few like really, really high level winning plays in this game, including the touchdown pass to Dallas Goedert. But what I think is nice about the way that the team is constructed right now is that they have optionality when it comes to like the good teams that they're playing.
I agree.
They can win in a lot of different ways, right? Like if the offense is struggling, maybe the defense can pick it up, and that's what they certainly did in this game. If the passing game is struggling, they can lean on Saquon Barkley and lean on their awesome offensive line and make this a run-first team. If that is stuffed, I mean, they still have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert on the outside. Like, there is very high upside in the passing game. And Jalen Hurts has high upside where he can make winning plays. And so I think if you think about this team against the better teams in the league, it is nice that there are different paths for them to win those games. I do think that in those big games, Jalen Hurts is going to need to play a little bit better than he played yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I think through the whole streak, I mean, I think you've seen flashes of incredible, great, brilliant, wonderful play, and then holding on to the ball, right? Like, and it seems it's funny. I was talking to somebody about this when he's like he saw AJ manned up on the outside. He makes that throw in his sleep.
It's a beautiful throw.
Yeah, he drops it in the bucket. He makes this when he was decisive. Boom. The issue comes when he doesn't recognize the defense and he's got to go through his progressions. That's where it seems where he's slower and hold on to the ball. And then when he gets in that trouble, it's like caught between throwing the ball away and taking a sack. And he doesn't want to turn it over, so I understand that. But that's where the conundrum lies.
And the numbers bear that out. The longer he holds onto the ball, the lower he ranks relative to other quarterbacks in the league. And that matches the eye test, right? As you say, when he gets to the top of his drop and the ball is out, it looks great. He's very accurate, and when he's throwing those passes, it looks good. But yes, there are times when he's standing in the pocket and you're yelling at the TV like, "Throw the ball! What are you doing? Just standing there." Like those 5 sacks in the first half yesterday, I have to go through them and watch, but it looked live like all 5 were on him. Like they were not quick sacks. He has to process better in those situations.
What was the story with the where Sirianni lets it slip out about the ankle? He didn't look fine. He moved.
Yeah, you know what? There was the one play, the one duck that he threw to Devontae, where Devontae's wide open and the ball just floats in the air. And I know there was somebody sort of close to him, but that one looked to me like if it's the plant ankle, it could have been a product of that.
Maybe
it was a very weird situation.
To your point,
on Friday.
Bo, even the interception that didn't have zip. That ball didn't have zip. It had a little bit of an arc to it. It makes a great play on the ball, but it wasn't fired in there.
And you and I have talked about, Jalen's as a thrower mechanically is so lower body driven, right? Like it is not just pure arm strength. He needs to get his waist into it sort of and get that torque into it. And so if he doesn't have that full torque, then he probably does lose a little bit of velocity.
So Greg brought this up to me, and I'm curious what you think. He said, it's great, the whole thing, the winning streak, but look at the opponents. And go ahead, Greg, because you said it. I got some 10-1 pang in me. Was that?
Yeah, we felt really good. And I felt really good at the end of the day. But looking back, I mean, these are four of the 5 teams they've beaten on this streak is bottom third offenses with pretty bad quarterback play. And I don't know. I mean, we'll all find out Thursday, I guess. But where's your head at? Bo, do you think they're just playing? They are this good, or it's a combination?
This good, we will see. I'm very curious to see how they play on Thursday against Washington. I do think they're better than they were a year ago. And you think about those wins a year ago, like I'm looking at them right now, not a lot of blowouts, right? All of them were very close games that the Eagles were sort of eking out. History tells us that one of the best indications of the quality of your team is that you're able to blow out the bad teams, right? And so 3 of these last 5 wins have been blowouts, and Jacksonville probably should have been a blowout if that game doesn't sort of bounce a weird way. And so I think that the Eagles are able to extend these leads the longer the game goes on. It tells us that this is a pretty good team. If we're just stacking it up, I don't think they're as good as Detroit right now, but I also think they have some room to grow. And I also think the personality of this team is one of sort of a front runner. And I think the more that they believe, I think there is more ceiling for them to reach.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. The only thing last year was they did beat during 10-1. They beat some good teams.
They beat good teams. Yeah.
Kansas City, Buffalo, Miami. I mean, they stacked some decent wins up.
They did. And you can only play who's on your schedule. The Eagles don't have even when the schedule gets tougher, it's not that tough. Like the Rams are
Ravens.
The Steelers, the Baltimore and Washington are the best teams they're going to play, and that's about it. So there's going to be a chance for them to potentially compete for the 1 seed if they take care of business.
What's interesting is you bring it up. We're talking about last year, and I agree with what you said. They're better, and I think they're better for 2 reasons. We talked about the secondary and those 2 kids, and then Barkley. When you add Barkley to the offense and Mitchell and DeJean to the defense, that makes them better than they were last year.
Where does Saquon rank just this season as the best running back you've seen in an Eagles uniform, Cuz?
1. Right?
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Got to be 1.
I think he might be.
Westbrook and Shady had a couple. Shady was a great player. And, I can remember seeing Wilbert. Ricky Waters, Deuce had a couple, he's so regal, so elite. He's better. He's the best Eagles running back I've seen. And that includes, and I loved Westbrook. I didn't think they used Westbrook enough, but Barkley's just is elite, right? Like he's got that NFL all-world. I knew how good he was, but I didn't even know that he was this good.
He's way better than even I expected. Like the theory of getting him in an offense where he has a much better offensive line. He's got other weapons that the defense has to worry about. That's going to open things up. It's still way better than
quarterback. It's almost watching him now. It's like criminal that he's had to play with Daniel Jones all those years.
Like the Giants are as putrid a franchise as there has been in the last 5-10 years. And this makes it look even worse. Like the fact that they made him look as hampered as he was. Yeah, I love aesthetically the way that Shady ran, like the make you miss ability. That is so fun to me. But it's hard to think that any Eagles running back has had a better season than the one we're seeing from Saquon so far. He's unbelievable.
He's unbelievable. Let me ask you guys this, because I look at Thursday night and I go, I like the Eagles. Maybe with some margin. Like, I just think the Eagles are – I think Wise – I love the kid. I love Daniels. But I think the Eagles are way more elevated as a team. I just are a better team.
Yeah, I would like to see it. That's what it seems like under the hood. And the Eagles don't have a good book on this Washington team yet. So we will see. I'm curious to see – the Eagles haven't really played – a quarterback who can beat them with his legs this season to like a dangerous degree. Now, Jaden Daniels hasn't run a ton this year, not as much as maybe the book on him was coming in, but I'm curious if that is a part of this game that is going to potentially change things.
Well, he runs to throw, which I love.
Yes.
Like he moves, extends plays, which is what you're supposed to do. So I it's a fair test. I just think the Eagles are just a much better team. They're more veteran. I mean, Washington's a great story, but they'll tell you they're incomplete.
Yeah, I think that's true. Now their defense is getting better as the season has gone on.
You got Lattimore.
They were terrible early on. Yeah, maybe Lattimore makes a difference. But when you have AJ Brown, it doesn't matter if it's Patrick Surtain on the other side. The Eagles are still going to like that matchup. So I think Lattimore doesn't concern them a ton. I think the game is going to come down to that this amazing defensive backfield that the Eagles have shown over the past 5 weeks. If they have to cover even longer because Daniels is moving around, can they still do that? Can the pass rush eventually get home? That's where this game is going to be decided in my eyes.
I'm with you, buddy.
Hey, Bo, real quick, you just mentioned the pass rush. We saw Hunt double Bryce Huff's snap count.
Yeah.
Is that something you think we're going to see more of in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that right now Bryce Huff is the number 5 pass rusher as far as Vic Fangio is concerned. Now he's still a little bit involved, and it was a really nice move that he had on the forced fumble that he had, the sack against Terrence Steele. But I think it's pretty clear that right now he's 5th in the pecking order.
Jalen's had the swat.
Swat.
He's a swat. I love it. Bo, great stuff, my man.
Thanks guys.
Buddy. Appreciate it. Bo Wulf, all PHLY birds. 2:00 today.
Can't
Bo
wait.
and Zach. Make sure you're watching. All right. Time now for the brain. Brain.
Brain.
Red, the brain finder.
Listener of the Bet Park Sportsbook Online Casino app. He is the one, the only Brain, Brad Feinberg. Hello, Brain. How are you?
Like the Eagles sweatshirt, my friend. How are you?
Good, buddy. I mean, it was not great football yesterday,
No.
right?
No.
But for fandom purposes, it was fun to see Dallas just be Drek.
Man, I got to tell you, that had to be. I'm just thinking Jerry Jones, getting up there, like, man, this is. I'm not a mean guy, but a guy I'm like, he had to be like, geez, this is how it's going to end.
Right.
But you know what? The answer is yes. This is how it's going to end, because I actually think that team, Anthony, is in trouble. Not just this year, but again, I think it was a little bit of fool's gold last year. I actually think they top heavy team, have no depth, have real issues, and I don't think Dallas is going to be. We talked about Anthony in last week's show. I think it's division for the next. Certainly, you really can't go much past 3 years in pro football, but next 3 years for sure. I think it's going to be Philadelphia, Washington, Philadelphia. Rinse, repeat. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be those two teams battling it out.
I mean, the Giants are just horrendous. And you saw it yesterday morning. I watched the game and watching Carolina come back. Well, you got to be kidding me.
Did you see that play with Daniel Jones? It was on Twitter. It was going around. Watch what happens when Daniel Jones has time. And they gave him a clean pocket where it was like he had like 468 seconds to throw the ball. He threw the ball like 20 yards over a wide open neighbors. And I'm just like, but again, you always say
he stinks. He was never any good. He can't throw. For the life of me, there's certain things when it comes to personnel. Like, how you get nuts with coaches managing games.
Sure.
I get nuts with coaches and teams that stay with talent that sticks. Like, I can't for the life of me. I go, how in the world? The two things that Daniel Jones and before the season, you and I talked about it. I looked at the Cowboys and went, they're horrible. How could you go with that backfield and only one receiver? They had nothing.
Anthony, I always say it, and again, it's a great metaphor in life. I always say it, but I say it because it's true. In life, we have a chance to choose to be consistent or to be right. And sometimes when you draft these players high, you choose to be consistent because you can't admit you were wrong. Mitchell Trubisky with the Bears for 6 years, whatever it was, Daniel Jones. Those are my two favorite personal poster childs where those teams just couldn't get off of it. They couldn't say, you know what, we made a mistake here. The Sixers with Markelle Fultz, at least they got off it. The Sixers with Jahlil Okafor, I'm not saying it was good. I'm not saying that you wish you had taken Jason Tatum or whatnot, but at least they eventually got off it, right? The Giants just, and then the 1 year out of 6, he wasn't the worst player in the league. Oh my God, we told you so. But again, and it set them back years and years and years. You have to choose to be right, not choose to be consistent. Things change all the time. And when the data changes, actually with Daniel Jones, the data was consistent, right, Anthony? It never changed.
Well, it's the same thing like with McCarthy. If you're the Cowboys, how do you come back with McCarthy? You got blown out at home.
Anthony, they're not. But I'm going to tell you something. They're not.
Last year.
Oh, last year. I was shocked.
You get blown out at home in a playoff game. And you underachieve again. That wasn't the first time they underachieved. Bye-bye. I would have fired him the minute the game was over.
Did you watch last night, Anthony, the Lions game last night?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, and again, I'm coming out of this game, you're going to be shocked what I'm saying, beyond impressed with the Lions. Why? I felt like two things. Texans defense, especially in that first half, was so sensational, so incredible. Goff throws 5 picks. They couldn't have played. They played 1,000 games. I think that would have been maybe the worst they played, and they won on the road. They found a way. Yeah. When everything was going against them, they found a way to win a game when everything under the sun went against them.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, well,
that is the best team in the NFL.
Helps, and here's the other thing too. CJ played great in the first half. Second half, he was abysmal. Like, you can't throw that red zone pick on first down. Like, what are you doing?
Horrible.
You can't.
He hasn't been as good as he was last year, Anthony. But I got to tell you, this Lions team to me, a game like that, when again besides the Chiefs,
Darius Smith didn't even play.
Yeah, and by the way, the Chiefs do it again, Anthony. The guy's about to kick the field goal. I swear to you, I almost went to live betting, not because I thought there's any way he'd ever miss a field goal. I'm like, this Chiefs team. Yeah, I remember I used to say Eli Manning had a horseshoe stuck up as you know what. I go, this Chiefs team has 27 horseshoes. No, they're good and they're greatly coached and they have. But I've never seen a team that just they win every spot. And I'm like, if there's ever a team that's just it'll be the Chiefs. The guy will miss the field goal. It'll be blocked. And I almost bet, but I'm like, I can't do that. It's just the math on it's not right. But they, it's amazing when you see, but the Chiefs finding a way to do it yet again, despite another underwhelming performance.
Yeah, no. Listen, I'm with you. All right, so let's go back to the Eagles because VG talked about he's still got a pang from last year. We know the opponents they faced, right? We know about Cleveland, and we know about Jacksonville and the Giants and that Cowboy team. But they still have won 5 in a row, and that defense, I don't care what anybody says, they held Burrow and Chase down.
Yeah, Anthony, you're being fair. You're absolutely being fair, and that's why you're always fair. You root for the hometown team, you're fair, and that's what you have to be. And I agree. I mean, they played theoretically the team that was scoring as high as anyone, and they did shut them down. Look, this game, Anthony, I heard you talking beforehand. The first game I bet in the NFL for this week was the Eagles laying 3. I actually made this line a stone cold 4. Yeah. And I really thought 3, and it's 3.5 low juice or 3 laying a little bit of juice. But I think that I agree with it. You're handicapping. I think they're the better team. Washington, the kid's great, but they're just team wise, everything around just the team, the team. Philadelphia has a better team. At home, this is the game Philadelphia should win. I mean, they really should. Laying 3, a short price at home. I'll be disappointed. Actually, just like you said, not only I think they'll win this game, I think they'll win this game by double digits.
Dude, I feel the same way.
I like the spot. I like everything about
it. Like you said, I love the kid. I love Dan. Dan's going to be amazing, right? McLaurin's really good. But what are they really? And the 2 backs are good. We'll see if Robinson plays. Right, because Robinson didn't play, and it was Eckler yesterday. But when you look at, Zach Ertz, stop, right? When Zach Ertz, 1,000 years old, they don't have tight end. They don't really have a lot of. Zacchaeus is okay.
No, they've overachieved. That's a team that's overachieved, Anthony.
Right.
You talk about that,
there's going to be a regression with Washington.
Right, but I respect them, and I think they're a good team because of, again, they're obviously
well coached. And they're going to be good. Right.
And they're going to even be better. But I do think let me make this clear. I think they are a good team. I thought they're going to be pitching yesterday. It's funny, I'm watching that game. It was 24-14. I think it was 24-14 or 20. It was something like that. And I'm watching that game, and I could just, sometimes you get a control of a game and you just kind of feel it. And other times you can't get control of the game, even if the scoreboard says something else. And watching that game, Washington could never get control of that game. And I'm like, you know what? Pittsburgh's going to come back here. I could see it coming. Just like the Lions yesterday. I could see it coming where in the second half, Stroud was off, and I'm like, okay, it's coming. And I felt that same way about that game yesterday. And then Russell Wilson threw a beautiful pass to Mike Williams to win the game at the end. And then again, 4th and 1. Did you see it, Anthony? That's why I guess you do it. That's why you call the timeout. You're like, you know what? It's a free play. If this guy's going to go off sides, we win the game. Why not just get him the jump? And I'm sure. Look, if I'm in the Washington huddle, I'm like, whatever you do, just pretend you're a corpse. Don't move. Pretend you're Weekend at Bernie's. Just don't move. And the guy moved. Give credit to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, a team, in my opinion, limited, Anthony, but great coaching staff. Been amazing. You say, Anthony, coaches league? Pittsburgh shows that year after year.
They do. I'm with you. And listen, I would give him more of a chance if the AFC is so stacked. Like those 3 teams
so tough.
Between the Jets, Baltimore, and Buffalo. Look at Buffalo. Yeah, they're almost laying in the weeds. The Bills.
No, for sure.
Because everybody sees Lamar and the Ravens offense and Kansas City unbeaten. But to me, the most dangerous team out there is Buffalo.
Yeah, Anthony, you make a good point. Look, people see Baltimore, and they're like the they're like the fun thing, right? Like everyone just, oh, you see, it's like, yeah, Lamar making his crazy highlight plays, but then when you do a deeper dive, and they may be the best team. These teams are all close, by the way. We're separating hairs, but their defense is so bad. And Justin Tucker, by the way, like what happened? I mean, the guy is the greatest, unarguably the greatest kicker in the history of the sport, right, Anthony?
Yeah.
He's become below average this year. That may hurt them in a big spot. And then Kansas City, again, is there just going to be that game where, I mean, this is a team that's, what are they, 10-0? That you feel like they could be 3-7. So, and that's not even an exaggeration. So Buffalo, all they keep doing is they win, and Allen is absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, the AFC is really, really tough. I can't wait to see how it shakes out.
And it is, to me, when it's January and it's frigid and you got to win outside and it's Baltimore, and like, is Baltimore going to stop Allen and Cook and that run game? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be quite the playoffs. But then the NFC again, like, look, we saw, and by the way, San Francisco yesterday. Did you see Baker Mayfield? Did you see those plays, Anthony, he made at the end of the game?
Dude,
by any chance?
Yeah, I did. I saw it. Yeah.
I tip my cap to that guy. That guy, to me, I can't think of a player that stage of his career that improved it this much.
All right, let's look at this real quick before you go tonight. Who in the NFC is a challenge? Like, so clearly the Lions are at the top. I think the Eagles now have solidified themselves in the 2 spot. All right. Now you got the Niners. You get McCaffrey back, and then you got Green Bay. Who else you got? Atlanta. I don't know. I mean,
Atlanta, I do know. No, Atlanta. Look, I'm looking at bringing up the Parks odds right now, Anthony. Just odds to win the NFC, right? You know, we have Arizona 22-1. I will say this with Arizona. Again,
I told you about Arizona the other day. Didn't I tell you? These Jets are pathetic.
You have been right on the Jets. The Jets have been my kryptonite. The Jets have been the team that I've maybe been a little bit too consistent on and not a little bit less being right on, because I just keep thinking they can't be this bad. And everything it's like, wake up, slap myself in the face. They are this bad. Snap out of it. But Arizona, to me, Anthony, look, again, if you're looking for like a long shot, I don't think they're going to ever do it. But 22-1, again, maybe if every star aligned properly. Vikings, Anthony, at 12-1. Now, we saw Darnold for the first time, Anthony, probably you have those days where it looks like he was in New York or he looked like he was in Carolina. I watched it. He threw 3 interceptions in the red zones, bad interceptions at that, not like deflections. I'm talking like bad ones. Yeah, but I think Minnesota's a good team.
If the Eagles play the Vikings, I got no fear of Darnold in Minnesota.
Yeah, well, listen, again, I hear you. And he certainly needs to prove it in a big spot. But I do think Minnesota's good. It's funny, Green Bay, Anthony, I think they're good. But Love has also made a lot of mistakes in those spots. But look, bottom line is, I said even San Francisco was ranked plus 450. Philadelphia is plus 500, Anthony. But I actually looking on the Park site. But I actually do rank Philly too. I really do. And I think they're going to look. They could win out, by the way.
Yeah.
Who would win a tiebreaker, Philly or Detroit? Do you know the answer to that, or you don't know?
No, it's got to be,
but I think it is relevant. And I think it's relevant, Anthony, because the Eagles have, I mean, they've what, Baltimore? Is that their?
They lost to, who did they lose to?
No, the Eagles have to play Baltimore. Don't the Eagles have to play Baltimore still?
They do. They have to play Baltimore, the Rams yet to play.
Right. So I'm saying, but if the Eagles finish with,
no, but just curious. It's a conference record, so I don't know what their conference record.
Right, and the Lions. I'm trying to remember who they lost to because it was early in the year. The Lions lost to Tampa Bay, which was a conference loss, and I don't remember who their second loss was to. I think the Lions have 2 losses, or I think they have 2 losses. But the Eagles, the Lions only have 1 loss, so that was their only loss. Oh, okay, well then, so they have 1 conference loss, and the Eagles, how many they lost to?
Atlanta.
Eagles are 4 in
Atlanta
conference.
Atlanta and Tampa Bay.
Lions are 6-1 in the first of conference. Eagles are 4-2.
Right. So they would need the Lions to lose 1 more conference game, which theoretically is, you would think there's a chance they can. But again, the Eagles really could win out. Certainly have a chance to go 14-3.
That's wild. All right, tonight, Rams tonight. It's an interesting game. Rams, Miami.
Yeah, Anthony, we were ahead of the move, me and you. We talked about this game, and it's tilting towards 3. Right now, Parks has 2.5, laying 117. I grabbed this laying 1. Look, now here's the thing, Anthony. To me, and I think Tyreek Hill is a mammoth injury to monitor here. I think that's why the line is creeped up, to be honest. If he doesn't play, this will go to at least 3, Anthony. Not a doubt about it. It'll go to at least 3. If he doesn't play, it'll probably creep down to, the 1.5 that it was before. But to me, even whether he plays, doesn't play, only side I'm looking at is the Rams here. I bet the Rams. If Tyreek Hill does not play, I really like the Rams quite a bit. I'll give you a prop. I bet Colby Parkinson, tight end for the LA Rams, Anthony. I bet under his yards. I think it's 20.5 now on the Park site. Look, his snap count has gone down, and with the complement of Robinson, Kupp, and Nakua finally healthy, he's an afterthought. He certainly could do it. It's a low number, but I expect him to be more closer to like 1 catch, maybe 2, and I don't think he's going to get over 20 yards.
All right. Sounds good, Brain.
Hope you hit the trash juice on Friday night. Those Lobos cashed in, 1 outright.
VG's the best. Listen, when it comes to Thursday and Friday garbage games, there's no one else I'm listening to. There's no one else I'm putting my money on than what VG says. Right. You tell me next week, I'm betting. You watch me put it in the bet slip. I'll put it in there. You're going to see
Chattanooga tonight, -3 versus Austin P.
If that's not a lock,
P going down.
If that's not a lock, I don't know what is.
You do trash basketball.
I love trash basketball.
Those trash basketball. I got a lot of respect to trash basketball, man, too. Brain, we love you, buddy. Thanks, pal.
See you guys tomorrow. Be good.
There he is, the Brain. Brad Feinberg, our ambassador to Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. And let's talk about it. Because everything you just heard, the Brain loves the Rams. I love the Rams. We talked about it during the week, so you can check out the Rams. And I would look to the Eagles right now, 3.5 on Thursday. I would buy the 0.5 point on the Bet Parks. In fact, is it 3.5 or 3 on the Bet Parks app right now?
Hold on, I got that.
Because
I got trash basketball.
You're looking at trash basketball.
-2.5 on Parks.
2.5?
Yeah.
Jump on it now. The Eagles are going to win Thursday night.
Oh, no, that was the Rams game. Hold on. Eagles.
It's 3.5, right?
Yeah.
All right, jump on it. Just jump on it.
3.5, yeah.
Yeah, 3.5. Buy the 0.5 point just to be safe, but it doesn't matter. I think they win by double digits. Maybe you put a little pizza bet, make the line 10, all right? Because I think the Eagles win, and they win by margin. I don't think the Watson's ready to come in here after a tough game against Pittsburgh and beat the Eagles on a short week. Nah. I love the Birds Thursday night in the showdown against Washington in the NFC East. You can have some fun with the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. Again, they have also make your downtime fun time because in addition to the sports, you got everything else. You got all the live blackjack and all the live dealer games, craps, roulette, baccarat. It's right there. And in fact, new customers, if you're down in the first 24 hours, you get up to $1,000 casino bonus back. BetParks.com has all the details. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Michigan, Ohio. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Awesome stuff. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about getting on top of our finances here with our friends over at TrueMark Financial. And as we had some glee over my weekend, I was over in the Reading area in Pennsylvania. I had a lot of fun. Checked out a bunch of different spots that I honestly never checked out. And of course, like we always talk about, when you do these weekend trips, like things start adding up because you're having fun, you're not thinking about it. But I actually checked on my finances on Sunday morning, looked at my statement. I saw a restaurant charge me twice. And, it's simple fix. Call them up. They understand the situation. Boom, they give you the little refund back, and it's awesome. But that's why it's super convenient having money management tools, and TrueMark Financial will be able to provide that for you so you can track your finances super simple as well. And like I talked about, if you are on those weight trips, right, and if you had the scare where you lose your credit or debit card, with the free mobile banking app, you can lock your card. It's one of my favorite security features because you never know when that happens and nobody wants to go through a mini heart attack, all right? So if you want to start your credit union career here today, it is very simple. All you got to do is visit TrueMark.com/PHLY. That's TrueMark.com/PHLY. Or there are 24 branches in the Philadelphia area. You can absolutely walk on in, ask any questions you have, and start your credit union career right then and there. Keep in mind, TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender. Get on top of your finances here, ladies and gentlemen, with our friends at TrueMark Financial.
All right, buddy. Here we go. Let's go inside the film. This portion of the program brought to you by Rite Aid, RiteAid.com, your neighborhood pharmacy. Gotta love it. All right, now, inside football with our man, Franny Films, our buddy Fran Duffy. Good morning, Fran. How are you?
And morning, guys. What's going on? It's a Victory Monday here, obviously in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it is. It's a great day, and let's talk about. We've been talking about the defense all morning long because the difference that Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell have made in this defense makes them legitimate. That secondary. Now, again, Cooper Rush is horrible, and they throw for 45 yards, which is laughable. All that said, those two kids make that Eagles secondary legit.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that stands out is that they're just, first of all, that the tackling on the back seven has been so much better over the last few weeks, right? And so they're not giving up anything after the catch. And there's also just there's no open space. How often do we see guys running wide open over the middle of the field? It really goes back to that Tampa game where you just saw all the gaps in coverage. And since that point, and obviously that's an area where Cooper DeJean has really kind of really stepped up, and we've seen that improved play certainly from him in the nickel. But the Eagles have consistently, really since the start of the season, been near the top of the league in contested target rate, where they just don't give up easy completions. They make you earn every single yard you're going to get in the pass game. Really the only time, Amp, where you see guys are catching the ball and they're open is when it's those underneath routes in the flat, the little checkdowns, and then that's when you see all those guys flying to the football. How often have we seen DeJean and Zack Baun and Nakobe Dean make those tackles one-on-one in the flat? And that's why I started that with the tackling, because all of it kind of works in concert. It's been really, really fun to watch.
Well, and you're spot on. I mean, look what befell them before. Like I was saying this earlier, the 22, I know they had a lot of sacks. This defense way better because of the secondary. With secondary against good quarterbacks, that 22 team got shredded. This team will not. And you bring up a great point about tackling. And that's where Cooper comes into play. When you got a slot corner in the middle of the field that can tackle, that's sure. We've seen it on fourth down plays. We've seen it consistently, right? That is such a big deal. That back seven, you throw in the linebackers who have been really good. You're not seeing those big plays because of missed tackles. That's a great point by you, Frank.
I think the big difference, I was thinking about it last night, comparing this defense to that 2022 defense. And to me, the big difference, obviously that one was geared on the front, right? You had Hassan Reddick, you had Fletcher Cox, Hargrave was playing at such a high level, Josh Sweat was at his peak, right? And so when you get into a game like yesterday, that's where that defensive line just feasted on opposing offensive lines and the quarterback. They set the record, the sack record that season. To me, in this one, we're not seeing that defensive line where it's going to be that way, but because the coverage is so suffocating on the back end, that obviously it keeps those pass games, it keeps the lid on those explosive plays down the field. And to me too, the big difference, this is where you get into like the scheme, right? In 2022, they were a little bit more vanilla on the back end in terms of the way that, hey, this is the way we're going to play. We're going to go out. We're going to out execute you. And all those pass offs and coverage and the guys hugging up and not allowing space. We did see that from that group in 2022, but there wasn't as much multiplicity on the back end in terms of the ways that they attacked opposing quarterbacks. This year, I mean, look, we saw against Joe Burrow, Vic Fangio threw some shit against the wall, guys. I mean, there was like the plays where Nakobe Dean's one-on-one with Jamar Chase, and you would say like on a whiteboard, absolutely not. We do not want to sign up for that. But when you're going up against elite quarterbacks, and we're going to see a few coming here, obviously, look, Jaden Daniels is playing at a high level. You got Lamar Jackson coming down the pipe, right? You've got these quarterbacks here on the schedule.
Yep.
You've got to be unpredictable. You've got to throw stuff at these guys that they're not planning for and that they haven't seen, and it is risky. But to me, that's the thing that we've seen so far from Vic Fangio, is that he is willing to mix things up, show different looks, and mess with the quarterback in that way.
Dude, the biggest difference, again, is from last year, is you look at the coordinators, like just how buttoned up. Kellen Moore, he streamlined the offense, made it easier for Jalen, right? You look at what Fangio's done with his defense. I mean, I can't believe the great story about Zack Baun and identifying Zack Baun. It's amazing. Like that he identified him and went, no, he's just playing out of position. Like, I mean, all credit in the world goes to Vic Fangio.
Yeah, and honestly, the assistant coaches have done an outstanding job on that side of the ball. Christian Parker in the secondary, Jeff
Yeah.
King at linebacker, Clint Hurt working with the interior defensive line. Jalen Carter continues to get better week after week. We're seeing good things from Jordan
again
Davis.
yesterday. He and I didn't even go through the film yet. Just with naked eye, he dominated yesterday. I mean, he's so good. When do they find the edge guy? When they find one real pronounced edge guy, he's going to be ridiculous because of what he is in the middle.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We talked about it on the postgame show yesterday, is that as he continues to kind of ascend and become that consistently dominant force, I think you got to give a lot of credit to those players up front too, especially a guy like Josh Sweat, who is not accustomed to, hey, you know what, like I'm going to have to drop in coverage 7, 8, 9 times a game, and I have to trust the scheme. And I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get my opportunities to rush the quarterback. But that buy-in, I think, is impressive from the guys that have been here, and then just continuing to see that ascension. Nolan Smith has improved here in year 2 for him. So just seeing those guys step up, it's been a lot of fun to watch.
What'd you think of Hunt? Because he flashed a couple times. He had the one tip ball. Yep. What do you think of Jalix?
Yeah, we kind of got the hint in the last couple of weeks that we'd start to see a little bit more of him over the coming weeks, and so I'm excited to see how he continues to ascend. We certainly saw some good flashes. I was so impressed with what we saw from him in the summer in training camp. I thought this year would be more of a straight redshirt year for Jalix Hunt, just coming from Houston Baptist. I figured, all right, there would be a little bit of a slow burn there, but what we've seen so far in practice, and it was an up and down camp, but again, that's to be expected. Just continuing to see him kind of put that work in, everything you hear behind the scenes, everybody raves about Jalix Hunt. And so I'm excited to see how he continues to take that next step here as it becomes more of the rotation.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, to the offense. So let's start off with the positive, that it doesn't seem to matter what happens, but Jalen's going to account for 4 touchdowns, right? He's going to throw for 2, run for 2, throw for 1, run for 3, whatever, right? He's going to do that. He had a great 2-minute drive, and he played well in the second half. He was abysmal up until that point, 2-minute warning.
Yeah, I mean, he took 5 sacks in the first half, and I would say 3 or 4 you'd probably put primarily on him. That first one, Gainwell missed the block on the linebacker in the A-gap, and you can't have that. That was a quick pressure. The others, and we'll get into it on the show later today on the PHLY Eagles show with Bo and Zach. But I think when you look at that, there were some where, hey, there's nothing available. I didn't love the amount of ISO ball we saw from the past game in this one, where it wasn't like straight like route concepts where it was like a clearly defined read. Yeah. There was one that I literally just got done doing the telestrations on it, where he's got Dallas Goedert and he's running a corner out, and that's probably the throw. He kind of got fooled by the coverage, but he gets off that and he goes, all right, where's my next read? Well, his next read is like 8 miles away, basically in downtown Dallas at that point from Arlington, and he's not getting there. By the time he decides that he wants to go, well, the routes have kind of timed out, and then the rush gets home. And so, either Jalen's got to process that faster, or they just have to have better answers for him in the pass game. I feel like we saw that more in the last couple of weeks than we saw in this one, but there were plenty of examples of, hey, this is the throw. You have to trust that you make that throw, or if not, you've got to get off it faster. So we certainly saw that in the first half.
That's his next hurdle, right? Because, when he's decisive, he sees, and God, if there's man on the outside, God help the defense, because especially if it's on AJ, because he'll make that throw all day. It's a beautiful throw he makes down the field. He'll drop it in the bucket all day long. When he's decisive and he sees it, he gets the ball out quick, on time, and he's accurate. It's those times when he's got to go through progressions that it just unravels on him.
And that's the thing, is that we see like glimpses of it, right? I mean, there are examples every game where, hey, like he stands tall in the pocket and he goes from 1 to 2 to 3 and he makes that throw. But that is where the inconsistencies do show up with Jalen. And so, you're trying, it's a balancing act for the coaches, right? Obviously, there's a lot of pressure on the staff to make sure that they're successful this year. Jobs on the line from that standpoint. So you have to do that while also trying to make your quarterback improve over the long haul. You have to do what's best for the team in the now, right? So there's a lot lot of balls in the air there that you're trying to juggle. But I think when you're looking at it right now, even when Jalen is at his worst, it's like you said, he's going to account for 4 touchdowns, right? It's just because of this ecosystem. When you've got AJ, Devontae, Saquon, it's tough to bounce back from that.
Right. I mean, I just think they've created, and that line, like that line is good.
Yeah, right.
It just is.
Yep.
I mean, even with Fred, like, it's fine.
No question.
And he'll make a couple plays that are eye popping. So I don't know what it means unless you're playing, like really elite teams. I guess we'll find out if he can have that same kind of formula. But like, this is what it is. Throw the ball 25 times and, throw for 210 yards and run for another 50, 60 and account for 4 touchdowns.
And that can be a winning formula. But we talked about this in the post-game show yesterday, and it was like, all right, of the aspects of this team, you think offensively, run game, offense, pass game, defense, run game, defense, pass game. If you were to kind of like stack those going forward into the playoffs, what are you most worried about? I think the most volatile right now is the pass game offensively, in terms of if they go up against a great defense, that could be a sore spot for this team. And it could be something, because if Jalen's on and he's decisive and he's feeling it, obviously it could be fireworks. But if not, it could be fireworks the other way for the opposing team. And so that would be the biggest concern. You just got to get to that point and hope that he's hitting on all cylinders by that point.
You know what's amazing, though? It goes back to how great Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown are. I mean, what AJ's got is a top 3 receiver in the league. I mean, and Saquon is probably the best running back in the league. And you watch them play, and they're just so elite. They give you they give you calmness about even with the couple warts that Jalen has shown. It doesn't feel like it's too hard to overcome with those guys.
Yeah, and then you pair that with like Devontae Smith is a top 15, top 20 receiver in football. Yeah. I don't think it's out of bounds to say that. Dallas Goedert is certainly a top 10 tight end by skill set, if not higher than that. For me, he would be higher, but I could see someone making the argument, especially with the durability concerns. The offensive line, a top 3, top 5 unit in football. So again, this ecosystem is there for Jalen. Even when he has an average game, like the numbers are going to be there. But when you go up against a Baltimore, when you go out, they got Pittsburgh coming up on the schedule. You have Washington twice. Now they've got some clunkers in there too. You're going to play this team again. Dallas is going to come to town with either Trey Lance or Cooper Rush. You've got the Giants again. You've got the Panthers. This is the team that's already got 7 wins. And so you figure those 3 games right there gets you to 10. You split the difference on the others, and this should be a 12 win football team going into the playoffs, hopefully with some confidence. The system is there. The path is there. But they got to come through going up against the best of the best in the NFC.
Hey, Fran, I want to talk to you about a guy out of Santa Margarita Catholic High School. Going into this season, we were a little concerned about tight end depth. Calcaterra, to me, he is more than serviceable. I think I was wrong about this going in. When you look at the film and the game tape, how do you analyze how he's been this year?
Yeah, I mean, he's been good. I mean, he got blanked yesterday, which was surprising. We were talking about it on the kickoff show that like the over-under from Bet365 was 5.5 receiving yards. And we're like, man, that's stealing, because he's been so good this season, as a safety outlet for Jalen Hurts, even when Goddard's been on the field. But he put up a goose egg yesterday. But I think when you're looking at him in the pass game, what he can do after the catch, the athleticism down the seam, he's never going to be an intimidating force as a blocker. He's more of a guy where you're hoping for a stalemate. You're hoping that he loses slowly and he just doesn't get dominated at the point of attack right away, right? So, he's limited from that scope. But I think when you look at Calcaterra and what he can be as a pass catcher for Jalen Hurts in this offense, more than serviceable.
Hey, I also got
Calcaterra.
Like it. I got to give you mad props last night. I tuned into the halftime show, and my man was looking fashionable. He's got the green tie on.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Look at that.
You look great last night on your shows with that. That tie is killer, man.
I appreciate it. We were Bo was giving me grief about it, and I was like, "Look, this is Dallas week, man. You got to dress to impress." And he said, "Well, we have Thursday night. You got prime time Island game on Thursday, so I guess I got to dig into the bag of suits over here to my right and make sure I top that on Thursday."
Yeah, don't listen to Bo for fashion advice at
Franny,
all.
I like it, Franny. I do. I like it. All right, let's talk about what else? The Cowboys themselves, right? Like that is an unmitigated disaster in every which way. So when we talk about it, we give it word all the superlatives. How much do we need to quell it because it's with Dallas?
Look, all you can do is when you go up against a team that is that bad, and that team's bad. And you and I have been on top of that since the summer. We say, like, you know what, this is not going to be a good team this year. Play the under on them for the season totals. Like, with all the questions on it for them on both sides of the ball, all of that has come to a head. They lose Dak Prescott, and he was really kind of just keeping that offense afloat just by sheer will between him and CeeDee Lamb, because everything else has been far subpar. So I think when you look at them without Dak, and that's what this offense is going to look like the rest of the way. They don't have anything else that they can really lean on. So look, but if you're the Eagles defense, all you can do is go out and dominate. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, that was the worst pass game performance of any team in the NFL this year. So that's what if you're a good defense, and if you're a great defense, if that's what you think you are, you got to go out and you have to have that kind of dominant performance. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, I listen, I feel the same way. So I look at Thursday. It's interesting. I don't know what your early vibe is, but mine is one of supreme confidence. I love Jaden Daniels. I love that kid. I think the kid is going to be a star. It's obvious. But that team, while it's good and it's going to be really good, I mean, it's not ready to win on a prime time, big matchup Thursday night at Lincoln Financial Field in a showdown. I just don't think they have the horses to win. I think the Eagles are a much better team, and I would be surprised if they lost.
Certainly a more talented team. You know, when you look at it, all right, if you were to draft, if you put all these players into a pot and you were going to draft everybody, you know, from the top, everybody's free and we're out of gym class. The Eagles have, you know, we'll say 8 of the first 10, you know, 8 of the first 12 picks, right, in that draft. But now I think when you're looking at what this Washington team has done so far and how they've had success, I would say on both sides of the ball, they go on the aggressive. It's a very aggressive pass game. They put a lot of stress on you down the field vertically. The Jaden Daniels with his arm can make every throw, and then you get into what he does with his legs, both by design and outside of structure. I don't think it's out of bounds to say he's the most athletic, most dynamic quarterback in football so far this year with what he can do outside of the pocket.
I'm a Kingsbury fan. I like Cliff a lot. I think he's really, really good. So I think he's done a good job with him. And
he certainly has.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say he certainly has done a really good job. I would find it interesting. I was going through my notes just because I'm when I first started studying them. You know, they played Cleveland, they played the Giants, so I had an eye on them throughout the year. But this was my first time last week starting to really kind of dive in and study them. And I was like, man, like this doesn't have the same feel to the Kingsbury offenses in Arizona. It's much more vertical. And honestly, I think that Brian Johnson has had a really big impact on that pass game and what they try and do. He's the pass game coordinator. And to me, it more resembles what Brian Johnson did down at Florida. I remember Kyle Pitts, and what made him a top 5 pick was all the vertical route concepts. And we're seeing a lot of that in Arizona. They're making things really well defined. And so when they're really clean in structure, and then you've got Jaden's ability to create outside of structure, and you've got a really efficient run game on top of it, it's tough. It's a stressful offense to prepare for.
Well, but I just think they're doing it to the strength of Daniels. Like, sure. Daniels is a down the field thrower. I mean, you saw him at LSU. Yeah. I mean, he's a kid that's got a ridiculous arm. You said earlier, making all the throws, and that's what he did at LSU. I mean, they were vertical at LSU, and I'm thinking, no question. I got a kid like him. I want him down the field. The beauty is he'll. What I love about Daniels is that he moves to throw. He doesn't. His eyes are always up. Like if I have one beef with Jalen, it's that his eyes go down. Daniels' eyes are always up, and he's always looking to throw.
Yeah, and that's, again, you have to respect all aspects of it. When he does break the pocket, he's got that ability to strike you down the field, but then with his legs, really burn you. And again, they do it both by design and out of design. And so I think when you look at Daniels, I mean, that's the book on him. But then you go over to the other side. I mean, they are a really aggressive unit. It's a lot of stunts. It's a lot of speed on the field. They made the trade for Marshawn Lattimore. We'll see if he's ready to go on Thursday from a health standpoint. I know he was dealing, I believe, with a hamstring. But I think when you're looking at that pass rush, rush. They've been really good over the last few weeks. They're generating a ton of pressure. So this is a group that, again, they put the stress on you. They want to take the fight to you. And so this is a good test for the Eagles, certainly on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I don't think they have the horses there. I mean,
that's the question.
Especially on defense. Look, I love the story and what Tomlin did with Russ and the whole thing. But like you can see, like that Eagles defense should move the Eagles offense should move the ball against them.
Yeah, and I think too, like the run game is an area where I would take a look to take advantage of this team. You know, on the short week, they just played a really physical defense in Pittsburgh on the short week. So coming off that, I would say this would be a kind of a bully ball opportunity for the Eagles, especially once you get into like late first half, early second half, and the battle has already begun. I think you come out aggressive early, and then you go and you try and beat them up there.
Barkley.
I agree. I think the same thing. I look at him and I go, yeah, I think this is Barkley's rested. You're coming off of a cupcake. You played a marshmallow team, right? They had a physical. You and I see it the same way. I think that they have a big game Thursday night. Double digits, dude.
This is a big letdown game for the Commanders after that Steelers game yesterday. You're dead on with that. They're exhausted from that. They got the short week.
Again, I just see the disparity. I look at the matchup, and I hate playing on a short week, but on a short week, which is even the great evener, you go with the team, the best talent. And I just think the Eagles have more talent.
Yeah, and obviously being at home is certainly a help too. Look, that trip home last night's a tough one. That Dallas flight back is no piece of cake. But this will be a team that hopefully, if you're an Eagles fan, hopefully is ready to go on both sides. To your point too, like I would have expected that they were going to go smash mouth in terms of how they ran the ball against Dallas, just because of the issues they've had stopping the run. They were much more like the perimeter run base with Saquon. It was a lot of like, all right, let's get him to the outside. I wonder if they were kind of saving themselves. Hey, you know what? Like next week, we've got a really physical game that we're going to need to make sure we go pedal to the metal for. I'm interested to see how the Eagles approach this game on Thursday.
Yeah. All right. Last thing. I'm excited for that. Could finally get a good matchup, a good opponent.
You've been looking forward to this game for a week and a half.
I kept saying, I can't believe I'm looking ahead. I'm looking past Dallas. But you saw that they stink. You saw how big. You knew going into it, Cooper Rush blows. We talked about it last year.
You got to savor it.
I know. But I like good football. Yeah. And it's finally you got a really fun matchup. No more Daniel Jones or Deshaun Watson or Cooper Rush. You got a great quarterback. It's going to be it's a fun game. I just look at it. Yeah. I see the Eagles. Detroit is obviously the best team in the conference, but I think the Eagles now have solidified themselves in the 2 spot with respect to San Francisco, who just got McCaffrey back.
Yeah, I think that's fair when you look at how these teams have played. And even like San Francisco got out of that Tampa game by the skin of their teeth. That was a tight one throughout. I was surprised that one was not a little bit more lopsided. I think they're still trying to feel themselves. Obviously, McCaffrey, he comes back healthy here in this game. He played a ton of snaps for San Francisco, a little bit more involved than I anticipated coming off that injury. But I think when you look at that offense, we know what they can be. But you're losing Ayuk, right? They're trying to work the rookie Pearsall in. So I think that they're still going to be trying to find their identity. I think they're going to be a team that once you get into the postseason, you don't want to have to play them. But yeah, I think right now as we sit here, you've got to feel good. Honestly, whoever wins this game on Thursday, that's who you're feeling. That's probably the safe bet for number 2. And I agree with you. I'm leaning Eagles early on in the week.
Yeah, if you're stacking it, right? Like you're stacking NFC teams. Yeah. I mean, you got Detroit, and you see Detroit last night, right? Like, that was the height of they were set up to lose the game.
5 picks,
right? The Texans coming off a bad performance at home on a Sunday night, and look how they come out, and they can't close it out, and that's a testimony to the Lions.
There was Rocky IV, like when he cuts Drago, and it's like he can bleed, like he can bleed a little bit. I think when you look at that Detroit team, They've been awesome all year. I mean, and like last week was the one like, oh, they're outdoors for the first time in the elements, going against an NFC North team, and they took it to Green Bay. I mean, they out physical the physical team on both sides of the football, and so coming back against a little bit of a wounded Houston team, they were primed for a letdown spot. They'd come back and they win the game. So good on Detroit, but they show that is a mortal team that you can get after and that you can beat. So I think when you look at it. Look, if you're the Eagles, we know there's only one bye, right? There's only one spot at the top of the mountain there for each of these conferences. But you get that 2 seed, you get home field at that point, and then you try and win a couple games.
All right, I got one last thing for you. This is it.
Okay.
Who's the best team in college football? Because I can't tell you who it is, and I don't believe Oregon is.
I right now I'm leaning Oregon just because like everything in the SEC, like these guys are all like cannibalizing each other. And I don't know that I'm fully bought in on Ohio State at the moment. Obviously, they went down to the wire with Oregon. They nearly beat them. And honestly, like they were in position to win that game.
Should have beat Ohio State.
Yeah, I think when you look at Oregon and you say, all right, like they got the line of scrimmage, the offense has been humming. They're getting the quarterback to play at a higher level than expected. But that's why like this expanded playoff is going to be awesome. I cannot wait for the end of December, first week of January, when we turn to 2025 and we got this playoff is going to be a lot of fun. The getting that last week, getting the first look at what the rankings are look like and what the bracket would look like, it's going to be fascinating. To me, I would sit here and I would still say Oregon, but obviously still a lot of season left to play.
I know. That's why I threw it at you, because it's like, wow. And the SEC, I mean, what do you do with these 2 lost teams, man? Like, it's unbelievable. Right?
Because you got Alabama.
Georgia's got Tennessee this week.
Yeah, and very easily could lose that game. Like Tennessee is a feisty team.
Of course, we're going to lose.
But
that game.
Alabama looked like world beaters, and then they lose to Vandy. And Vandy has beaten some nice teams.
Kelly's a fugazi.
Yeah, that's man. I don't like if Jalen Milroe's like humming. Like I don't want to go against that guy because he could beat you in so many different ways.
Yeah, dude, you got to learn your lesson. Why in the world are you blitzing him? Like you got to contain. You got to mush rush.
He can read it out.
Like,
I agree.
That's what they did. That's how he beat them last year. And then when he's going downhill, and then Nussmeier, come on, bro. I mean, how many times you're gonna throw it to the wrong team? Like you got to see what you're looking at. He's got a lot of talent, but man, he's got a lot of work to do.
I have come around over the last like 3-4 weeks. All of these guys, we're talking Milroe, Nussmeier, Quinn Ewers at Texas, like all these guys, they're quarterbacks of some of the top teams in the country. They got to go back and exhaust every single down of eligibility that they've got on their resume before they come into the league. I think just with how we've seen things play out for some of these young quarterbacks, I'll make this point as we get into draft season. Like I hope all those guys go back, and maybe it's less exciting when we get to April. But it's for me, like we saw with Bryce Young, that's a short leash. Anthony Richardson, Indianapolis, it's a short leash. The NFL is not a developmental league. And you have no control. You can't decide where you go in the draft. And so if those guys could come and say, I want to go with Sean McVay or I want to go with Kevin O'Connell, maybe that's a little different. But in college, like you've got all the control, all the player empowerments there. If you're Quinn Ewers, hey, they want to get Arch Manning in the lineup. That's fine. Dude, you don't need to declare for the draft. You go transfer to Oregon. Go transfer to Florida State next year. I mean, go play there for one more year. Do what Jaden Daniels did. Do what Bo Nix did. Do what Michael Penix did. And those guys get every single down of eligibility out, and then see what you got here moving forward.
I agree. See it like you do, buddy. Great stuff, Franny Films. We love you. Good stuff, buddy.
Appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon.
Fran Duffy, our Franny Films, our film
BYU
name.
For real? They played nobody.
No, yeah. I mean, that conference. I mean, for real, meaning what?
Are they like top 6, top 17?
No. It's like I told you Miami was a fraud. Yeah. Miami, the ACC is a fraud.
I enjoyed that loss.
Yeah. I mean, they were fugazi. All right, let's talk a little Rite Aid.
Oh yeah. Well, Rite Aid is always good for snacks, your allergy meds. They're also good for vaccines, so you can protect yourself and your family by staying up to date on your immunizations. Most Rite Aid pharmacists are especially trained, certified immunizers, and most vaccines are no cost with insurance or through government plans like Medicare Part D. Rite Aid pharmacists can vaccinate you for a variety of conditions like shingles, pneumonia, tetanus, whooping cough, chickenpox, COVID, and the dreaded RSV, which is popular this time of season. We're getting right into the thick of it. And RSV is a highly contagious seasonal virus that affects your respiratory tract. It is not fun. Rite Aid's got your vaccine for that. COVID's going around. I have a couple of friends who've gotten that within the last month or so. And shingles. We always talk about the pain of shingles. So Rite Aid's got your vaccines for all these conditions. Select Rite Aid stores have dedicated pharmacists ready to administer vaccines and answer all your questions. They not sure if you're up to date, if you're feeling nervous. Rite Aid pharmacists will take time to make personalized recommendations based on your health history and discuss any concerns. No questions are too small. Just walk in or schedule an appointment Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. State, age, and health restrictions may apply. And ask your Rite Aid pharmacist for more details.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Parks Casino, Street Road, Ben Salem, Pennsylvania's #1 casino, Parks Casino. Again, Street Road exit 95, the PA Turnpike. So much great stuff. We talk about the sports book, and we talk about all the tables and the poker room. But what we love most, the Excite Center. 1,500-seat Excite Center is absolutely tremendous. What a venue inside Parks Casino to see America's top acts, musical, comedians. You can find it right there. And here we go. Here is the lineup. You ready? I have to get my man warmed up. Him and Andrew.
We're ready.
Here we go. January 24th. Actor Richard Kind from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Funny guy.
Hey, Larry. Hey.
It's pretty good, actually. February 8th. Jerry Cantrell, Alice in Chains.
Ain't found a way to kill me yet. Eyes burn with singing sweat.
March 8th, magician Michael Carbonaro, the Carbonaro Effect.
I love this dude. He's actually won Magician of the Year, I think, at some point.
Yeah.
Wow. I got to check that show out.
Yeah.
It's fun.
All right. March 21st, comedian Ron White. And then March 22nd, country star Lee Brice.
There's a rumor going around about me and you staring up our little town the last week or two.
Lee Brice Harper. November 14th. Coming up shortly this week, Ezra, Ray Hart, the lead singers from Sugar Ray, Better Than Ezra, and Tonic together for one incredible night.
Every morning there's a halo hanging from the corner of my girlfriend's four-post bed.
November 16th, Bret Michaels.
Your mama don't dance and your daddy don't rock and roll.
Hey, enjoy all these acts, and then you got dinner afterwards or before the show. Liberty Bell Gastropub, Parks Grill Steakhouse, Bamboo Noodle House, ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, like we do for every victory on a Victory Monday, we go playback. Let's relive the joy that happened in Jera World. And it was joyful. Let's start off. Who was back? Goddard. Like, we forget about Dallas Goddard.
Yeah.
And Dallas Goddard back. There he is. Went up close in the touchdown.
Catch.
Right? Doing the whole thing. We always talk about the Jalen pregame pep talk.
Yeah.
Here you go.
We have it. Sweet.
Where's the volume?
Can't hear. Can't hear.
It's gonna be today. It don't gotta be about nobody else but us. Let's show up and just dominate your box. Every play. We're gonna do this together now. It's team ball all day. Team on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Team. All about team.
Zack Baun's right there. Those pep talks are slightly more energizing than the old Carson Wentz ones. We got this, guys. Come on, guys.
Let's go, guys.
Slightly.
Slightly. Get it started with little Milton Williams
Nice.
and the fumble recovery.
Here we go. Oh, bobble snap. That is Philly's ball.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Milton Williams just snatched it away from little Cooper.
He's having a good year, man.
Little Cooper. He took it away from little Cooper. You know what's funny about Dallas? They all have the same, pregame. Here we go. Like with Dak.
Oh,
here we go. Here we go.
Yeah. Every play.
And Cooper doesn't have. He don't have the pipes that Dak has.
No.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go. We're gonna lose.
Omaha. 50th career rushing touchdown. 50
That's outrageous.
for Jalen Hurts right here on the tush push.
He is powering across.
What about
for
4
the
yards there?
touchdown.
Damn. 50 touchdowns.
What's your stars Hurts, and he is powering across.
It's
for the
amazing, man. He scored
touchdown.
50 on the ground. Like, what? Like, one thing about Hurts, and I get caught up in the quarterback trap, right?
Yeah.
Because I nitpick quarterbacks, and I nitpick Jalen. Like, dude, this.
God help Massimo.
Well, I nitpicked him on Saturday. He did not play well. He didn't give him any protection, but he didn't play well. Dude, what are you doing? He is so dangerous with his legs. Like 50 touchdown runs.
I'm curious to see what do you
That's
think?
unbelievable.
What do you think the breakdown is between tush push and like runs? Like, you think about 50-50?
I mean, no, way more runs.
Maybe more runs than tush pushes?
Way more run. I mean, my guess would be 2-to-1 run.
Okay.
And he had
2-to-1 run.
He had some beautiful up the gut runs.
Oh,
during that
yeah.
game. I mean,
Dude,
beautiful.
he's a huge weapon. A huge weapon that way.
Yeah,
It really is.
When he's
and
feeling
he just
good.
accounts for touchdowns. Like, you can say whatever you want. Like, I get caught up in the quarterback trap again. Like, you got to look pretty and going down the field and this and that. All he does is score touchdowns.
And win.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's part of it. You
Yeah.
score touchdowns, you're going to win.
Yeah.
Zack Baun and Cooper DeJean. Oh,
The red
let me
zone
see this
turnover
beauty.
As the ball is jarred loose. That was
Look at
Baun.
Coop.
It was one of those who helped pop it out.
He gets his
Zeke.
shoulder on it. Gardner Johnson.
The red zone turnover.
Oh,
And
man.
DeJean just got like a cheat code for the ball.
He does. He's got great hands. Great athlete, right?
Yeah.
So he's got great hands. And it was funny. I was talking to Tooch about this. I go, look, dude, look at how athletic, perfectly, because that ball, the way he scooted, the way he caressed it before it goes out of the
totally
back of the
make
end
sure
zone.
he was inbounds.
Yeah, it was great. All right, let's look at. We talked about Goddard being back. Here he is inside 2 minutes.
Guess who's
Everything
back?
else you can throw in the middle of the field or outside.
Able to shake off the pressure. Fires to the end zone, and it's caught.
That's a great play.
That little shake.
It was
that
the
Jalen
shimmy.
put-
It was that shimmy.
Yeah.
I mean, because he came out of a cannon on the blitz, and it was a quick
Able to
shimmy
shake off.
side step.
Fires to the end zone, and it's caught.
Great play.
Yep.
That was a great play.
No sun in his eyes. Kept the eyes downfield.
Yeah, great play. And how about who's that tall guy?
Dude, with nice hands, man. He reached the hands out.
Do it for
grabbed this out of
Johnny
the air.
Wilson. Do it for Johnny.
Since back.
Drop back. Jalen looking around, surveying 3 or 4 times.
Nice
Steps
step up.
and fires, and it's caught for the touchdown.
Johnny Wilson.
That is
Or
a big
I always say
man.
Johnny Walker.
Johnny Wilson.
Johnny Walker.
All right, the one throw that Jalen makes, and he does it on a rope.
He might be
He
the
makes
best.
this throw in his sleep.
Yep.
I don't know why that teams will man up A.J. Brown.
What is going on with that?
I don't
Like,
get it. if I'm a DC, that's the last thing I want to do. But here it is. Look at the throw. It's a
Firing to
beauty.
start this drive, and they're going deep. And it's caught.
Dropping the
What a
bucket.
play
Yep.
to
I guess there
A.J.
was some
Brown.
safety help there, but just I don't know what they were doing. Super late.
Back and it drops in the bucket.
Yeah, ESPN's going off. I know Russ has a nice deep ball. They're proclaiming him like king of the deep ball. I think Jalen's got a nicer deep ball.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well.
The moon ball still floats.
Yeah.
Right? Jalen is more of a raindrop,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It's more of a pronounced raindrop where the moon ball flutters a little bit more.
Yeah. This like hits its pinnacle and the nose of the football comes down right
it's
in.
in the bucket.
Yeah.
And it's never behind. It's never in front. It's always right
No, I
there
agree.
in the hands. Easy play for the
I
receiver.
agree. Here's Hurts, another touchdown, 51.
It's hard to win in the NFL.
51.
He deserves credit.
This was a great play.
He still has it.
He faked the Saquon,
Yeah,
opened
it's
up a
great,
big hole.
great play design.
Yep.
For another Eagles
Great play design.
touchdown.
And bam!
It's hard to win in the NFL.
I like how he gets into Diggs' face there a little bit at the end of the run.
Yeah.
Really show him, yo, I'm here.
And then a Huff showing.
What?
Huff?
A who? A what?
Give me some J-Licks, but I'll take the Huff.
NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's in the discussion for sure. 3rd and 9. Ball's back. Knocked out of his hands. Cowboy lineman. Football follies. And maybe Philadelphia has it.
Football follies.
Oh, my
That's a good call
goodness.
by
The
man.
Keystone-
No, I liked it.
I can deal with it. I can't stand Romo.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. He feels like he's out of it.
He's such a dork. Nothing he says is like remotely cool. Like he's
No,
just
I
such
agree
a
with that.
giant.
He's also
Dork.
the most overrated figure in the history of the NFL.
He stunk.
Right? He
Yeah.
wasn't a great quarterback. He was good. He had talent. He threw a nice ball. But they made him out to be like he was Aikman meets Staubach. Right? Like, in the end, and he was a lumper.
He's a
right?
bumbling goof at any pressure situation.
And as a broadcaster, he's not great.
No.
Brady's already better than him, and he's doing it 5 minutes, and Brady's not even likable.
No, and Brady started. He was bad. He's worked on it. He's gotten much better.
Well, of course, because he's Brady.
Right.
But, you listen to Aikman. Like, I love Aikman. I do. I've always loved Aikman. Aikman he's got a good personality. Like, he knows what he's doing.
Yes.
Right?
Just seems like
Romo
normal.
tries too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Right?
He does try too hard.
Yeah. All right.
It's just silly.
Last one. Let's go with a little CJGJ. Give me a little CJGJ to end it. Here we go. Here we
Comes away
go.
with the football.
Well, this
There it
ball
is.
floats a little bit, but the receiver never even looked.
Comes away with the football.
I like it.
Well, this
CJGJ. And that was a beautiful day in Dallas. What a day.
What a day. It was fun.
34-6. We all thought 44-6. And
Yeah.
it's amazing because that game, I don't know, I'm sure you guys felt the same way for much of the first half. You're like, oh my God, this team stinks. Yet they're within a score.
The first half.
Yeah.
But it just never felt like that.
I
yeah, but
never
get it.
felt-
It just felt ugly.
I never felt like worried
Yeah.
because you knew how bad Cooper Rush was. But it was like, just like Jacksonville. Like they were hanging around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're going, wait, they should be up two. This team stinks. Like, what are you doing?
yeah. Parsons is a force.
Yes.
I mean, you can see he's a
He's a
one-man
great- he's
wrecking
a-
ball.
he's the
If
best.
if he wasn't there yesterday, I feel like that first half would have felt a little more comfortable.
Totally.
Yeah.
But no joke. He is no joke.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. All right. Time now for the Rite Aid. Back in a moment. All right. Let's go back.
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with Rite Aid. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We're going to do a little hockey. How about this? And you don't know about this, Andrew. You've heard about him. But boy, we got robbed.
Yeah, we did.
We got robbed of what was going to be an incredible goalie. And of course, God took Pelly Lindbergh way too soon.
Pop lets it roll through. Poland tracing it into the Edmonton zone. Kevin Lowe fails to clear. Poland wrapped up in the offensive left corner. Digs it out. Gets it back to the point. Drive for Howe. Stopped off the heel of Parsons to the right side. Drive. That was blocked off. And we're going to have a breakaway by Gretzky down the left side. He's going to go in all alone. Shoots. And
I remember that save. Bring up his glove.
Yeah.
Like he brings up the glove hand. Pelly, man, is the anniversary of his passing
Dude, and I think I mentioned before, he was the first one to put the water bottle on the back of the net because he suffered from dehydration.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
So I got a quote from Edmonton coach Glenn Sather when this happened. And he said, after game 2 of the 1985 Stanley Cup Finals, maybe we want a bucket of chicken on our net, maybe hamburgers. I mean, if you have a water bottle out there, let's have lunch.
What? Those hockey guys are the greatest, aren't they? They're like, what? You want water?
Yeah, water.
What do you? Goalies lose, 8 pounds of fluid during the game. You're looking for water? What are you, a sissy that you need water?
I think we might as well just have lunch. Put our feet up, relax back
Give me a
there.
bucket of chicken on the back of the net. That's fabulous. All right, Flyers.
Yeah.
Good. Now listen, now I know the meat's cough thing.
I
and
want to
it's-
hear it. I'm irritated.
But look, you played well again.
Yeah, they had 2 of their best games probably.
Right?
But
they played well.
Meaningless games. I need this kid's head right.
I know. Sixers finally win. They
Hey,
beat Charlotte.
your boy, looking all right.
McCain played well last night. Yeah. My beef with
He can hit
McCain
some
was
shots.
he's redundant with Tyrese. That's why,
Yeah.
But he can.
I mean, let him maybe
play well.
flashes a little bit. And
Who knows? All right. Well, look, no Tyrese, so this is perfect for him.
Yeah.
Have a that's gonna do it for us. Big week ahead. All right, Washington week. WW. Have a great day, everybody. We love you. See you in the morning.
We all silly like the mayor.